Good morning. Welcome to the 27th Annual Central Coast Insights Symposium. This is the second symposium that we've held online. And while I enjoy talking to my laptop as much as the next person, we're really looking forward to gathering together face-to-face on the Central Coast for the 2022 CCI Symposium. I'd like to extend a special welcome this morning to the winners of the Wine Business Monthly and Dream Big Darling scholarships to CCI. This is the second year that we've partnered with Dream Big Darling to provide scholarships to CCI for promising young women in the wine industry. And we're delighted to have the scholarship winners with us here this morning. I'd also like to thank our sponsors, without whom CCI would not be possible. We very much appreciate their support. And I'd also like to thank the members of our advisory board who helped develop the program for today's conference. Normally we hold CCI in March, but last year with the onset of COVID, we were forced to hold CCI in August. And as we were thinking about the program for today's conference, we were thinking about what's changed since August. And it turns out there's been 3 events that have had a major impact on the wine industry since August. The first is, of course, the 2020 grape harvest. This has been one of the most difficult harvests in years. And as this chart shows, the value of grapes harvested on the Central Coast in 2020 declined by about 25%. Now, this 25% decline was consistent with what we saw throughout the state. And as you might imagine, a light harvest like this has a large impact on the grape and bulk wine market. And in our second session this morning, we're pleased to have our friends from Turrentine here to talk about how the 2020 harvest impacted the Central Coast. The second big event to impact the wine industry since August was in California, the coronavirus shutdown over the holidays. In late January, the state started to loosen some of the restrictions associated with the shutdown, but we're still facing restrictions on tasting room visits and in-restaurant dining. The shutdown exacerbated some of the impacts that COVID was having on the wine industry. COVID restrictions were forcing wineries to increase their emphasis on e-commerce. And in our first session this morning, we're going to be taking a look at what are some of the options available to wineries who are looking to increase their e-commerce sales. These options include adding an e-commerce module to their own website, or working with third-party providers such as wine.com. In the last session today, we're going to be looking at what the data tells us about how the DTC market changed during 2020. And we're going to try to forecast how the DTC market might further evolve in 2021. There was a third event that impacted the wine industry since August, and that was the closing of the Gallo Constellation deal in January. The closing of this deal set the stage for increased M&A activity in the wine industry, and major players were lining up to jump in. Vintage Wine Estates and Duckhorn both announced plans to go public, and both stated the primary reason for going public was to raise more capital for doing acquisitions. On the Central Coast, M&A activity was highlighted by the War Room Cellars acquisition of Bonnie Doon. In our keynote this morning, we're happy to have Andrew Nelson from War Room Cellars here to talk about the acquisition. We're very excited about the program we have for you here this morning. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Adam Montiel. Adam moved to the Central Coast in 2003, and he quickly became a wine lover and cork dork shortly thereafter. Adam hosts radio programs on The Crush. His two programs, the daily Liquid Lunch and the bi-weekly Cork Dorks, have become an integral part of the growing Central Coast wine industry. We're delighted to have Adam act as host of the symposium today. Adam?